Her body was found in pieces, in separate contractor bags. Parts of it still missing. She was 14. This is the case of Emily Pike. Welcome to the Red Flag Files. My name is Angel Taylor, and I'll be walking you through the most mysterious cases of our time. I've always had a really deep sense of curiosity around mysterious cases, some of them unsolved, some of them solved, but just ones that really make you ask a ton of questions, some more unanswered than others. I felt like we could walk through some together. This is the case of Emily Pike. And this case particularly disturbed me, and I don't know if it's because she's only 14 or if it was because the way that she was taken away. But the details of this case are incredibly gruesome, and it leaves more questions unanswered than answered. And so let's take a deep dive and we'll walk through these together. The Emily Pike case is still ongoing. As of today's date, it is still unsolved. We have no leads. We have no idea who could have done this, at least nothing that has been released to the public. So let's walk through the timeline because we have that and we want to see exactly what happened from January 27th, which was the last day that Emily was seen, up until now. So let's get started. On January 27th, that is the last known sighting that we have of Emily. Emily is 14 years old, and she's last seen walking on foot near McKellips Road and Mesa Drive in Mesa, Arizona, after leaving her group home. So the backstory there is that Emily was in a group home that she had visited a couple of times, according to other sources. At this point, we don't know why she had been to the group home. We know that she may have been struggling with some mental health issues. We know that she may have been in distress, maybe some depression, things of that nature. But mom did not give any sort of inkling or any sort of information as to why Emily had been at this group home the couple of times that she had. At her last stint there, she told her roommate that she was going to visit a guy that she had met while taking guitar lessons. So she left on foot at approximately 7:45 p.m. while the church group was there conducting some activities, presumably providing a distraction that she would need to be able to leave the group home. Now, how did she leave unnoticed is the first question. It doesn't sound to me like there was a ton of awareness. The fact that she was able to leave, apparently she left multiple times throughout her stay there. Who's the boy that she was supposedly meeting? Is that a real person? Is this someone of actual interest? Why has no one figured out who that is, found him, looked at her phone record, see the last person she was talking to? If she was genuinely taking guitar lessons, there has to be a trail somewhere. So those are my first two red flags. How did she leave? And who's this boy? Let's keep going. Between late January, around the 27th-ish, all the way to February 14th, we have no idea what happened to Emily. We don't know where she went. We don't know who she was with. All we know is that there's surveillance footage capturing her walking in the area on January the 27th. After that, the next time we see Emily, she's in contractor bags. Her body has been dismembered, and a few pieces of her body are still missing. Her arms and her hands have still not turned up. We don't know where they are. Now, the speculation there is that the person that killed her took those pieces because there may have been some DNA if she fought back. Maybe there's DNA under her nails or scratches on her arms or things of that nature that would lead us to the person responsible. A couple of the other red flags during this unaccounted for time is, what does her electronic footprint look like? Did she have her cell phone? What calls were made? Where did her cell phone ping? On which tower? What sort of information is there that we're not privy to yet? What information do the authorities have that they haven't released? I feel like those are clear things that we look at first when we want to see what happened to someone, where they went, who they were communicating with, and so why hasn't that been done? And if so, why hasn't it been released? We're now at February the 14th. This is the day that Emily's body was discovered. They were found off of US Highway 60 northeast of Globe, Arizona, in a remote wooded area of Gila County. Warning, this is very graphic. But her head and torso were found inside contractor trash bags. Authorities believe she was not killed at the location that her remains were found at, and it took about a week for them to notify her family. Emily's mother had to provide a DNA sample to confirm that it was her daughter. As a mother, I can't even imagine being asked for a DNA sample, much less it confirming that it was my child in those bags. My first thought, my red flag there that raises in my brain is immediately, what was her time of death? Are we able to, we have her head, we have her torso, we have those things. Why can't we tell approximately how long this body has been deceased? And why aren't we using that information to narrow down where Emily was when she passed away? We do know that there was significant damage to her head and torso, appearing that that would be the cause of death, would be some blunt force trauma there, but we have no answers. There's been no confirmation on a cause of death. There's also no confirmation on a time of death. On February the 21st, 2025, official law enforcement gets involved. So the Gila County Sheriff's Office, we'll refer to them as GCSO, they confirm that the FBI and the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the BIA, are assisting in the investigation. So the GCSO states that they have leads, but they don't disclose any further details, just that they have leads. The red flag there, if the FBI and the BIA are involved, what does that suggest about the nature of this case? March 6th. It's a Thursday, and there's a vigil held in Emily's honor. Hundreds gather at Encounter Arizona Church in Mesa for a prayer vigil in Emily's memory. Indigenous leaders and activists speak out against systemic failures contributing to Emily's death and highlight the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women. MMIW. Community members vow to seek justice and ensure Emily's name is not forgotten. Was Emily's case handled with urgency in the very beginning? Or was there negligence? March 7th, Friday, we have some investigation updates. Authorities confirm that some of Emily's remains are still missing. This is when we find out that her arms and her hands were not in those contractor bags. They reiterate that they do not believe Emily's murder is part of a serial killing spree. I would assume they're trying not to cause a mass hysteria there. But investigators do say that they are receiving many tips, but have not identified suspects or persons of interest. If there's no suspect in custody, why is there no public threat warning? Why are we not telling people, yes, there is still a murderer at large? Not only a murderer, but someone that has spent the time to dismember someone. That takes a special kind of killer. This is not someone that did this in a snap of a crazy moment and then had all the remorse in the world and just was wrecked with guilt. This is someone who was methodical and someone who thought about how they would be able to get away with this case, with this murder. March 8th, and that is the latest update that we have from authorities. Detectives are quote unquote receiving leads around the clock as calls come in from people with potential information. Authorities confirm they have surveillance footage from the area where Emily was last seen, but not from the area where her remains were found due to its remote location. Investigators emphasize that the FBI is interviewing family, friends, and acquaintances and examining Emily's electronic footprint for possible clues, but have turned up with nothing. Authorities declined to comment on a leaked internal memo that revealed graphic details about Emily's body when it was found. This is how we discovered that there was trauma to her head and torso. Visible head and face trauma, but the exact cause of death is still, quote, undetermined. Dismembered and placed in contractor bags. Arms and hands still missing, potentially because they contained the attacker's DNA under her fingernails or wounds on her arms. No arrests, no suspects, and not one person of interest has been named to date. According to some sources, this leaked memo was accidentally posted on a Facebook group or somewhere publicly and was immediately taken down, but not before the public got some screenshots. And so this is how we have this information. A few additional facts here. The San Carlos Apache tribe has offered a $75,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Emily's group home that she was at was approximately 125 miles from her home. Considering she'd only been there twice, Did she know that area? Did she just leave and hope to meet up with someone? Did she just leave to maybe go to the store? Did she just leave to be able to maybe get some fresh air? Why did she leave? Genuinely. Is there a real person that she met up with that was giving her guitar lessons? We don't know. Did she know that area? Where would she have known how to get back home if she were lost? She's 125 miles away from home. Emily did have a history of running away from the group and had been missing 4 times since 2023. So maybe she did. And the couple of times that she was there, maybe she had learned the area and knew where she was going and just ran into the wrong person. Over the past 3 years, Mesa PD has received 30 missing persons reports, all from residents of the group home. I'm going to say that again. Over the past 3 years, Mesa PD has received 30 missing persons reports involving residents from the same group home, with 89 calls for service to that specific location. If that's not a red flag for someone, I don't know what is. Is this group home still operational? Is it still open? Are they still serving girls? Emily's father wanted to be at Emily's funeral, but he is currently behind bars. He's requested permission to attend, has not received it quite yet. Emily's mother has not disclosed the circumstances that placed her in the group home. It appears that there's some issues with both parents. Dad is in jail. Mom had posted at the end of 2024 about maintaining her sobriety. And so there seems to be some alcohol or substance abuse there as well. This poor girl. Why is law enforcement releasing so little information? Do they know who did this already and they're already starting a cover-up? Do they know who did this already and they are trying to keep this out of the public eye so that they can handle this properly? I would hope that it's that one. The fact that in Arizona, an Indigenous woman could be murdered, and that's the very top of the list. That's the top 3. And there's not a bigger outcry. There's not a bigger response. This is my first time hearing about this. I heard about the Emily Pike case, did a little bit of digging, and I realized this is another day in Arizona. Not for Emily's family. Clearly not for the people that are affected. But this, unfortunately, is a pattern. This is not something that is a one-off. This happens regularly. For it to be the 3rd cause of death for an Indigenous woman in Arizona. Locals are clearly speaking out. They're holding vigils. They are protesting. They are doing what they can. The people that are in places of power, the people that are in places to actually affect those changes, what are they doing? Emily Pike's murder is tragic. It's disturbing, and there's so many unanswered questions. Despite the FBI, the BIA, and the local authorities being involved, there's no suspects, no arrests, and no clear explanation of what happened during the 3 weeks she was missing. The case has sparked some renewed attention on MMIW issues, thankfully, with community members and activists demanding justice, transparency, and accountability. If you have any information about what happened to Emily, you're urged to contact the Gila County Sheriff's Office at 928-200-2352. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment below any cases that you'd like for me to take a little bit of a deep dive into. This has been the Red Flag Files. I'm Angel Taylor.